course, my talk title is If It Could Happen to Pema Chodrin. And some of you may be wondering, what the heck is he talking about? If you don't know, Pema Chodrin is an American Buddhist nun who practices the Tibetan branch of Buddhism. And I obviously will have a story to share about her a little bit down the road. But right now, just wanted to look at this idea that, in science of mind, the key tenet of our teaching is that God is everywhere present, that fully and equally throughout creation, everything is created out of God. God lives, resides at the center of every part of creation, including us. So we are all God expressions. We are spiritual beings awakening to our spiritual nature. And what we teach is that the more we recognize, the more we perceive that innate goodness of God in ourselves, that no matter what's going on out here, what's going on in our lives, what's going on with other people's behaviors, that we sense this underlying goodness in ourselves and in others, that we are more able to call forth that goodness into our lives to make good of whatever circumstances we find ourselves in. So constantly, we're promoting spiritual practices like meditation and prayer and affirmation that help us to turn away from the conditions of the world and recognize that God lies within us. God is all good. God is the source of all good. And as we do that, as we start to gain that greater sense of that goodness in ourselves, we begin to see demonstrations in our lives. We see growth. We see evolution. And it can be so incredibly joyful and empowering, can't it? When we finally, through our spiritual work, find that we have given up that sense of resentment, those thoughts of woundedness and how hurt we were by others' behaviors that our mind kept engaging in and just causing ourselves pain. And suddenly to find ourselves in a place of knowing, no, there's this love in me that was untouched by that. Whatever they were doing was about their journey, and I can release it. I mean, that's just so exciting to get to that place. It's wonderful to get past our insecurities or ways that we feel unworthy of good, and to start to feel a goodness in us that we can say, yes, wait a minute, why am I not believing in myself? And thereby step into maybe those careers that we feel our hearts would love to be engaged in, or those relationships that we felt we were undeserving of, or activities that we were afraid to get involved in because we might not live up to expectations, and to just give up those ideas, those false beliefs, and just let that spiritual nature of love and joy take root and move through us. And as we keep doing our work, we can celebrate any number of ways that we feel empowered and less affected by the circumstances in the world. We can see any number of ways that we now look at a challenge that before we would have felt overwhelmed, but now we just see it as an opportunity. We know right away there's a solution and there's a way to make good of this. At the same time, as we evolve in consciousness, because our nature is infinite, I don't care how much progress we make, we will find that there's more good to evolve into. There's more good to be discovered. There are more ways that we will find, oh, I am not living up to a potential that lies in me that's greater than what I'm expressing right now. And as that happens, I'd like to explore two traps. I mean, in this process, as we evolve and see the growth that we've experienced, but also come up against the ways that we're not perfect humanly, there are two traps that we can fall into.